By the time they kicked the door down, the bed was still warm, but the room was empty. No sign of her. No way out. Just claw marks, deep ones, on the inside of the mirror. I know how this sounds, but if you've ever stayed on the third floor, if you've ever felt something breathing behind you when the room was quiet, you already know this isn't just another ghost story. This one watches back. The hotel is old, not charming old, not vintage elegance old. It's the kind of old that rots beneath the paint, where the floorboards sigh when no one's standing on them, and the wallpaper peels like it's trying to escape. It stands just off a forgotten road on the edge of town. No billboards, no ads, no website. People don't come here by choice. They come because they're lost, or because something drew them in. The locals won't say its name. And when you ask about it, their faces shift, like they've tasted something bitter. Some say it was once a sanatorium. Others say it was never supposed to be built at all. That the land underneath was cursed, burial ground maybe, or worse. But everyone agrees on one thing. You never book room 313. Even the receptionist avoids the number when assigning rooms. They'll tell you it's under renovation, or sealed off, or simply doesn't exist. But it does. And those who've stayed there, even for a few minutes, report the same thing. A coldness that seeps into the bones. A pressure in the air, like being watched from every corner. And worst of all, a silence so deep it smothers sound. A silence that listens. The third floor has been closed for years, but someone, or something, keeps unlocking the door to room 313. The last guest who stayed there left behind only one thing, a recording device. 17 minutes of static, and then a voice, whispering, "Don't let it hear you breathe." If you found a locked room no one dared to enter, and something inside called your name, would you open the door, or would you pretend you never heard it at all? They told me not to go up there. The hotel manager didn't even make eye contact when I asked about the third floor. He just muttered something under his breath and handed me a room key, room 211. But that night, something was off. The hallway outside my room kept creaking like someone was pacing. And at exactly 3:13 a.m., my phone vibrated. But there were no messages, just a single notification. Room 313 unlocked. I didn't install that app. I didn't have Bluetooth on. And I was the only guest in the hotel that night. I should have ignored it. I should have locked the door and gone back to sleep. But instead, I got dressed, grabbed a flashlight, and stepped into the hallway. The third floor was colder than the rest of the building. The wallpaper was different, older, yellowed, with faint handprints where no one should have touched. The air smelled like mold and melted wax. As I walked, the silence wrapped around me. Not peaceful silence, pressurized, unnatural. Even the floorboards didn't make a sound. Then, there it was. Room 313. The numbers were carved directly into the wood, not attached, but gouged like claw marks. And the door, it was open just enough to see darkness inside. I raised my flashlight. Its beam hit the far wall and revealed something scratched into the paint. Words, barely legible but still there. "It hears movement. Don't run." Before I could process it, the hallway behind me changed. Where there had been doors, there were now only walls, no lights, no exit, just me, and the door in front of me, slowly opening wider. If you were standing in front of a door everyone warned you about, one that opens by itself, would you step inside to find the truth, or turn back, knowing something might already be behind you? I stepped inside. The door didn't creak. It clicked shut behind me like it had been waiting. The room wasn't abandoned like the hallway. It was perfectly intact. Furniture in place, a clock ticking, a small lamp flickering with a dim amber glow. But something was wrong. The bed looked slept in. The air smelled like burned hair and iron. And the clock, despite ticking, never moved from 3:13 a.m. I walked slowly toward the window, but there was no view, just a wall of black, not darkness, but something thicker, like velvet stretched across reality. And then, I heard it, breathing, not mine. It came from the corner, just beyond the edge of the light. Heavy, slow, wet. I turned, expecting to see someone. No one. But the breathing didn't stop. It just got closer. And then came the whisper, low, raspy, like it was inside my skull. "You're not the first." My flashlight flickered and died. The lamp shattered. And in that moment of darkness, the breathing stopped. But I could feel it. Something was behind me. Cold fingers touched my neck. And I ran, blind, crashing into furniture, scraping my arms and legs. I reached the door. It wouldn't open. No handle, no lock. Just the wood, now warm, pulsing, alive. And then I saw it, carved into the wall, faint but fresh. "Running makes it hungry." I collapsed, pressed myself into the far corner, waiting. And when I opened my eyes again, the door was gone. If a room knew you were inside it, if it could breathe, move, think, would you try to escape? Or would you sit still, hoping it forgets you exist? Hours, or maybe minutes, passed. Time doesn't work normally in room 313. It stretches and collapses like the walls around you. Then, a sound. A wet dragging noise, like something being pulled across the floor. Closer, closer. Then silence. Again. And that's when the room changed. The floor rippled beneath me, like breathing lungs under old carpet. The walls shivered, and the air, it pressed against me like invisible hands, exploring my skin, testing how much fear was left to squeeze out. Then, from the far corner, the wallpaper peeled back, not ripped, but pulled, as if by invisible claws. Behind it, not plaster, but faces, dozens of them. Eyes closed, mouths open in frozen screams, pressed into the wall like wet clay. I staggered back, and that's when I saw it. My name, scratched into the wood above the bedpost. Fresh. The room knew me. It had been waiting. I screamed, slammed my fists on the walls, called for help. But the room absorbed the sound, turned it into silence. The only noise left was the soft hum of the clock, still stuck at 3:13. And then, the final blow. The mirror. I caught my reflection, but it wasn't doing what I was. It was smiling. If you saw yourself smile in the mirror when you weren't smiling, would you smash the glass? Or would you dare to see what your reflection does next? They say I made it out, but I don't remember leaving. Security found me the next morning, curled up against the door, muttering in my sleep. They said I was alone, said no one else was on the floor. And yet, the carpet outside the room was soaked, like something had bled through the wood. I asked to see the guest list. No one had checked into room 313 in years. It had been sealed after someone disappeared. But when I showed them my phone, the photos I took were gone, except one. It was dark, blurry, but in the corner, a figure stood, facing the wall, arms limp, head tilted too far to the side. They told me I must have imagined it, that maybe the pressure, the history, the isolation got to me. But I know better. The mirror still shows a crack across my reflection, a crack that isn't there when anyone else looks. And some nights, when the clock strikes 3:13, I hear it again. The dragging, the knock, the voice, calling me back. So, would you spend a night in room 313? Or do you believe, like so many others, that once the room knows you, it never truly lets you go? If this story gave you chills, maybe you belong here with us. Listening, watching, waiting. You know what to do. We'll be seeing you soon.